Hey guys, we're back. It's Ted Bogert with The Ted Show. And you know how much I love our series with Kendra Davies with Stellar Life Coaching. So happy to see her. It is Talk It Out. And today, because Kendra is the one with the brains and the beauty, she came up with the topic elements of success, visualization. Don't let that word, don't get all new agey on me. Don't get all freaked out. That word is so powerful. It's a powerful
Mm,
word and it does powerful things. So I love this
absolutely.
topic. How are you,
Thank
love?
you. I'm well, darling. I'm well. And
Good.
I was filming an online course and I was talking about achievement and I was talking about visualization as like a brain hack. And when you texted me, you were like, what's our topic for this week? I'm like, we should totally talk about visualization
I
because
love it.
the research behind it is actually, I think, what people probably don't have. You know what I mean? Like
Well, I
for
think it's all
those of us
hokey,
who
right?
believe, yeah, for those of us
They
who
think it's
believe,
hokey.
mhm,
They think, they think it's new age. I think I use that word. I think people just don't realize that there is so much power in it. I've done it. I've been doing it since college. And I think
mm,
there's so much power. And I think a lot of people also get caught up in, just like they do if you're a prayer or meditation person, you think you have to do it a certain way or it's not the
mm,
right way. And so you don't even begin to
yeah,
try to do it. So
yeah.
give us your 411 on visualization.
Okay, so to me, the things that stand out the most when it comes to visualization, like the science, right? Because I totally believe in magic, but I love science. You know, like I believe that the two can commingle. And so the science behind visualization is actually what's so interesting to me. So, for instance, the brain cannot differentiate a stimulus, meaning that if I go back to a time where I felt immense joy, excitement, passion, or if I felt powerful, if I allow myself to go back in my mind's eye and re experience that through visualization, the brain cannot differentiate if I'm actually having that experience or if I'm remembering that experience.
Oh.
So you can literally use visualization to tap into an old feeling or to imagine a new feeling, such as accomplishing a goal, such as um, uh, the new thing that you want to draw into your life, right? Think of things like The Secret, like the idea of manifestation, the idea that if you can see it, you can believe it, it can come true kind of thing. The brain can't differentiate. So you can mind hack yourself into feeling and experiencing as if it is already here. It has already happened. It is done. You already have the car. You already have the abundance. You already have the partner. You already have the family.
Is
So
that I didn't know that. Okay,
I
good. Because
know.
I always wondered, okay, what are the people, no offense to these people if you're watching, but what are the people who may not have the emotional or mental capability of visualizing? How in God's name are they going to figure that out? But I didn't know that the brain, you had to hack it, and that
Hmm.
it's the same, it's basically you can't differentiate. That's
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah. If you think about like runner's high, have you ever heard about that? Like where
Things
runners,
I've
when
never
they,
said for 100, please, Kendra. No, but please explain.
but I mean, you could, if you imagine like runner's high is like when they go for an intense run or they have this physical, mental, emotional, spiritual experience on their run. Afterwards, they're still on high. Like their brain cannot differentiate if they're still running and they're still pushing and they're still achieving, or that they're in this stagnant state. So they experience what's called a runner's high. And the same thing happens. I've heard people describe it about their yoga practice. I've heard people describe it about meditation, right? Um, it is when we are able to access the physiological experience of a thing without actually having to experience it. The way that most people are going to know what I'm talking about is if you think about something you're afraid of, like really, really fucking afraid of. You know what I mean? Like if you're afraid of spiders and like you get the heebie jeebies, right? Like your brain can't differentiate. You just think about the spider and you have a physical reaction. It's the same thing, but flip it for the positive, right? You
Yes,
flip it for the positive. Now,
fascinating.
research number two that just like for my non-believers, for the people who are like, no, that's not going to work. We got research studies. So Bishop University did a study, and they found with athletes, yes, football players, soccer players, rugby players, they put them in 3 different groups. The first group had a physical workout to strengthen their hip flexors, right? For 2 weeks, and every day they upped the weight 5 pounds. Ready? Group number 2 only visualized themselves doing the workout. Group 3 did neither. Yes?
Yeah, okay,
The
I
group
love
that
this.
actually had, group number 1 that actually had the physical workout where they upped the weight every day, yeah, for 2 weeks, they increased their hip flexor strength by 28%. And the group who only visualized the exercise, didn't actually pick up a weight, didn't actually do the thing, increased their hip flexor strength by 24%.
Damn.
Hot damn.
So I can just visualize myself being a 32-inch waist again. And that is better than all this exercise BS I'm dealing with. No, I love that. I believe that, right? Because there is so much power in the mind, and the mind impacts everything that we do, including our physiology and physicality. And people really, really underestimate how powerful that is.
It is 100%. And here's the thing, and you bring up a really valid point, because there's other research studies which actually found that it matters what you're visualizing. Like for instance, for an obese group, what they found is that those who would visualize themselves being thinner, they didn't actually lose weight, but those who visualized themselves through the process of losing weight, they envisioned themselves eating vegetables that they didn't normally eat. They envisioned themselves exercising or committing to that routine of walking for 45 minutes every day. For the folks who focused on the process, not the outcome,
Right.
that was the deciding difference.
Fascinating. So they focused on the process instead of the end result. So they visualize their process. I think that's important, but why do you think that that is more powerful than visualizing the end result?
Because in order to get from point A to point B, it's not going to be linear, right? So like for me in my coaching practice, I use visualization a lot. Like if you know me, then I use visualization in my workshops, in my online stuff, like anywhere I am, I do visualization. But I think that what matters in this particular research is the fact that obstacles are going to come up. And if I only visualize myself on Oprah with my millions and not overcoming my obstacles, overcoming my writer's block, overcoming the challenges that come with me getting to Oprah and my millions, if I don't visualize that process, then those obstacles will get me. I cannot just focus on the end goal. I can't just think I'm going to be skinny, right? I have to visualize myself enjoying fucking cauliflower. You know, like I have to get pumped up about searching for new recipes and cutting out carbs and like the visualization is one of those things where if you can visualize yourself doing it enough and frequently, right? Then what happens is you trick your brain into believing that it's already there. I've already overcome this hurdle. I didn't have to get to the point where I'm choosing between cauliflowers and cookies because I did it here and I already chose cauliflower. I don't have the same amount of mental distress when I'm put in front of my writer's block, if I'm writing my book, or that fear of walking in for that audition or whatever the case might be.
I love that. I think it's interesting because I think a lot of people, mindset to me is everything. And so what people do is the opposite of visualizing the positive. They visualize the negative.
Oh, yeah.
And so why do you think, guys, that your shit is always crazy or challenging? If you're constantly focusing on and visualizing failure, rejection, bad news, then I don't know how you would ever expect a positive outcome.
Yeah. And, and we've talked about the Tetris effect before, right? Where, the college kids who played video games, and then when they looked out in the world, they saw Tetris everywhere. Like if they could fold the skyline on itself, they would make a perfect line, right? Or in the cereal aisle, if they could turn the Wheaties on their side, it would make a perfect line like in Tetris. Whatever we focus on in our minds is what we're going to see. So I don't have any judgment or shame for my negative Nancy's, right? Because I believe that there are some parts of us that are meant to be discerning and telling us which is right, which is good for us, what, etc. However, if you really look at the research behind achievement, behind goals, behind success, it's not the people who could completely see and predict all of the failures and workarounds for them. It's the people who saw themselves overcoming in order to get to the achievement. Yeah. If we focus on what we don't want, then you're only going to continue to get more of what you don't want.
Say that again, because that is so powerful. That is so powerful. That is the one thing I took from The Secret or anything else I've ever read. Mm-hmm. Say that again, because I think people misunderstand or don't understand how positive or how powerful that is.
If you focus on what you don't want, that is all you're going to continue to get. I don't want them to leave. I don't want to get divorced. I don't want to not get this job. I don't want to not get this raise. I don't. Shift all of that language. I want a loving and healthy relationship, right? This person chooses me. I choose this person. I am deserving of a raise. Yes, I've put in the work necessary to earn a raise. The raise is coming to me. And we shift our mind. And now, don't get me wrong. I don't necessarily believe that manifestation is the end all be all. I believe that there is actual work. Yeah. At the end of the day, you visualize yourself eating cauliflower and not the cookie, but then you actually have to eat the cauliflower and not the cookie in order to get the results, right?
Sad reality, but yeah.
So there is an element of actual work behind this. But if you really, really think about, and I don't like living in the weight loss example too much, but I mean, it's just a perfect example of how we end up setting these arbitrary goals or ideas for ourselves. I just want to lose 15 pounds or 50 pounds, 100 pounds. But at the end of the day, I have a client who his goal, instead of losing weight, and he's very much overweight, his goal was, I want to live, not just not die.
Wow.
And when you shift that perspective, if you don't want to just not die, you want to go for longer walks. You want to eat a big ass salad and feel good in your body, right? You want to take your fucking vitamins and supplements because you're over 50 and your eyes are going to shit. You know what I mean?
I don't know what you're talking about, Kendra.
You want to take better care of yourself because the shift isn't, I want to lose weight. It's that I want to live. I want to feel alive. And if I visualize myself feeling alive, what am I going to imagine? For me personally, I'm going to imagine myself dancing. Yes. I'm going to be physical. I'm going to be breaking a sweat. I'm going to be in the moment. I'm going to be mindful. I'm going to be present. Man, if that's my focus, everything else falls into place.
Why is that so hard for people to shift the focus from the negative? Is it because we are conditioned to look at the worst case scenario? Like, I know people that I don't hang out with anymore because everything is doomsday. And then when they say, well, my relationships are a failure, I have no money, I have no goals, everything's bad, all I can think about was, well, crap, you spoke that into existence. I don't know how it could be good. But yet that is a more comfortable way for people, I feel like, because then they know what the worst case scenario is and they don't want to be surprised almost. But I feel like what can people do? What if I have somebody who's watching or listening and we have someone and they want to make the shift, but they hear your language and my language. And honestly, I'm going to tell you, it sounds hokey sometimes, the stuff that we say. But what can they do? What's a first or second step that they can do to just make an initial shift? Remember, guys, that initial shift is the biggest step you're going to take, because you finally are taking control of where you want to be, rather than letting everything else define where you want to be.
Okay, so two things. One, as human beings, we have an inherent negativity bias. We are naturally drawn to negative things. Like if you think about it from an evolutionary perspective, we're going to remember threats and dangers immediately, because back in, when our ancestors were killing saber-toothed tigers with sticks and shit.
And I could see without glasses, yes.
They needed to be able to remember, this is the dangerous place. This person is bad, right? A disagreement could end in death. So we want to stay away from the hot-tempered people. We have this natural tendency to file away the negative experiences. The reason why positive psychology, and I love it, is because it is a conscious choice. So to my folks who are watching, who think it's hokey, who think that it's just some new age spiritual bullshit, okay, it's probably spiritual in nature. I'll give you that. But I would challenge you. I would challenge you to ask yourself this question. Is what you're doing working? And if it's not, then what do you have to lose? Can it hurt? Can it hurt if you choose to sit down for 5 minutes, close your eyes, and ask yourself to visualize a moment of joy in your life? Any moment. You can go back as far as you need to. And let's be real, the brain can't differentiate the stimulus. So if you only think about a moment of joy that you saw in a video or a movie, and you really allow yourself to have that experience, like be mindful, pay attention. What does joy feel like in your body? How does your heart change, right? Like I cry for everything. So I tend to cry, my heart starts to race, right? Like, but it also has this, everything becomes brighter, right? Like the sun becomes brighter, the blues are brighter, the greens are brighter, like colors are vibrant. When I experience joy and I visualize that moment, everything is in hypercolor. And when I allow myself to have that experience, when you allow yourself to have that experience, you draw in the positivity, and positivity begets positivity. It's like a domino effect. When you hold enough space, it happens. Because listen, if you spend 5 minutes or less, 2 minutes every day, and you visualize yourself not having the perfect day, not coming home to bed with $1 million, right? But you imagine in your day that you overcome the challenges. If you're in sales, you overcome objections. Yeah, you close deals. You imagine yourself going through that process. You are going to feel better. It is a mind hack, because even when you get the objection, you're still going to feel the stress, right, of being told no. But because you've already visualized yourself in it, your brain isn't going to be like, stop, abort.
Correct.
It's going to say, oh, wait, we've been here before. We know what to do with this. I'm stressed, but I have an answer. I know what to do.
I think people I take that back. I think people, because the unknown and trying new things seems to be a challenge for a lot of people. I feel like living in and wading in the mud and the muck is easier than trying to put something positive out there. It goes back to the known versus the unknown. But I think that people, like, for example, the visualization that I do, like as I'm listening to you, of course, I thought of, okay, I don't want that freaking cauliflower on any. No, I don't want all your pizza crusts, people. Stop with the recipes. But if I can visualize what I know, not what somebody else is telling me I should visualize, you can take suggestions, but I think you are the best person to know what makes you, what moves you, what makes you emote, what is important to you. So if Kendra and I are talking about losing weight and you're already a fit mofo, and yet you have mind issues you need to work on, then you want to listen. So fitness part, but listen to what we're saying and try to figure out how you can improve the other side of your life. I have people who've come to me and said, on just meeting with people. Because in my role, I'm not a coach like you, but I coach people. And one of the biggest challenges is I tell them, tell me about your role, tell me about how you're feeling. That's it. Almost all of them, it starts negative and finishes negative. Good thing thrown in there, but they are so conditioned to talk about what's bad versus what's good. No wonder no good is coming their way. And that's what I say to them. So that, like, if I'm talking to somebody and I want to get them engaged in a positive conversation, I want them to think. Do we close our eyes? I've done this, so I know. But and I would love to do a show on, by the way. Just think about it. I did 8 minutes of Reiki silent for my live show last week, so I'm open to anything you want to do. But talk about it, because
I'm totally down.
I close my eyes and all I can think about is all the things I have to do. So can you give them a tool to maybe go? I think that's important for people. They don't.
So I would say for me, I started with just memories, right? Things that I have already done that already existed in my world. Because when I ask you to visualize success, a lot of the times people are so fearful of success that we talked last week about how gratitude is a vulnerable experience. I think hope, gratitude, positivity, they're vulnerable experiences. If you've been alive for longer than 5 years, the world has broken you. Like, you know how dangerous it is to walk around and think that you're enough, to think that you're smart enough, that you're capable, that the abundance is coming to you, that you're going to be okay no matter what. We've learned that is dangerous thought process, right? So we're skeptical. We say, no, I need to be on high alert. I have to pay attention. I have to be hyper vigilant. I have to anticipate the ways that I could fail, because failure is unacceptable.
Right.
This shift is acknowledging that failure is possible and undesirable, but shifting the focus. Like, anybody who knows me, I don't want to Pollyanna you. I want you to sit in your shit. I want you to be angry, sad, frustrated, pissed off, raging, and grateful. I want you to be all of the things that you actually are. So, okay, let me digress. So you go back to a memory, choose something positive. Yes. For me, the word joy or joyful works. It could be excited. It could be powerful. It could be a moment of accomplishment, right? But all you have to do is close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, get calm, be quiet, and allow yourself to go back to the moment. And when you go back, try to take in all of the detail. Like, who were you with? What were you doing? Where was the sun? What was the wind like on your skin? What did it smell like? Ask yourself, what did joy, excitement, or feeling powerful, or that accomplishment or achievement, what did it feel like in your body? Like, get your brain and your body on the same wavelength and relive that moment. Yeah. Really allow it to happen. And listen, the first time you do it, maybe you can't get all the way there. Maybe you get halfway there and you're like, okay, that's cool. I feel like an idiot. I'm going to stop. Cool. I have a vanity barrier too. I got to get over that bad boy all the time. But when you get over it, it is magic. So just don't stop. Don't stop until you get there. And if it's easier for you to choose a thing that already exists, then go back to that moment. Feel it again and let it happen. If it's a matter of security or feeling loved or appreciated, right? I know, like, right now, everybody's relationships are on fire. Like, like, we're stuck with people in ways that we did not anticipate ever having to be stuck with people,
So
right?
true.
Like, go back, visualize that feeling of love and of security, of seeing your partner do the dishes, of whatever that thing is for you.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah. Dishes. I don't know.
That's so important, though, because I think that you have to find that moment. So you have to do a little bit of your own kind of internal research. What was the moment? And what I found, a lot of people will say, I can't think of one, Ted, which of course makes me want to cry.
Yeah.
because I think people have focused so long on the bad things that for them to go back and try to find a positive memory that brought them joy, happiness, I don't care what it is,
Sure.
it's difficult for them. But I
And I would,
guarantee you, think about one thing. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I was just going to say, I think that if you get turned off by the word joy, you know, like when I first started this work, if you would have brought up joy to me, I would have been like, I don't know that. Like, I didn't know a lot of joy, but I think that you have to use a measuring stick that applies to you. You know what I mean? The time where you tried and it worked out. Like, you don't have to call that powerful or excitement or joy. You can just go back to a moment where you made a commitment to do something for yourself. Not even that you lost the weight. Go back to the moment where you chose cauliflower over cookie and you felt good about yourself,
Correct.
right? Like, just that moment, go back to it, be fully in it. What matters is that you allow your brain and your body to sync. That is where the hack is. That is where the flip goes. It's not just seeing the outcome. It is the process. It is the journey. What does it feel like in that moment to have it?
I love that. I think I do. I love visualization because of that, and the power and the focus takes it off of the negative, which is what you're normally, people just tend to focus on the negative. For me, like, I can go back to a memory of a movie that made me happy. If that's really where you have to start, like you watched XYZ movie and that brought you joy or happiness. I think you should just, if that's what you think of immediately, then focus on the feeling you had when you watched that movie, and then we take another step forward. But people don't. People actually feel, I feel like people feel guilty. You said it earlier. They feel guilty or funny, weird about being able to feel joyful and happy. It's so bizarre to me, but I think it's the norm for so many people, and they just get caught in that cage.
And I think we have to remember that these things are not our natural state. Our natural state is a negativity bias. Our natural state is to obsess about the things that are dangerous, wrong, and things that we should avoid, because that's what keeps us alive as a species. So our brain is hardwired for that. Choosing positivity, choosing change, choosing optimism, choosing to focus on what you do want instead of what you don't want is a conscious choice that requires work. It's more work than going to the gym. It's more work than hiring a trainer. It's more work than having to write a resume and interview and put your best foot forward. Like, it is all here. And the truth is that you are the only one who hears your self-talk. I don't know what you're actually saying to yourself. But I promise you, if you were like me and everyone else, it's probably not all pleasant all the damn time up there.
Correct.
These little tips and tricks are ways to flip that script. Imagine if you could save 30% of your energy just not battling what you don't want. If all you got was 30% more energy and resources within yourself to pursue something that you love, that you could be passionate about or feel comfortable in your body with, even just 20%, fuck it, 15%. If I could give you 15%, would you be like, Kendra, get out of here? I don't want that. Of course not.
No.
What have you got to lose?
Agreed. All right. That was awesome. I think that we should do, maybe, I'm not putting you on the spot. You can, give me a hard time later, but I think a visualization session, remote, would be amazing, because I think I usually drool during mine because I'm in such a state. I won't do that live though, but I would love to have you on. All right. So best way for them to reach you is stellarlifecoaching.com.
Yep.
All right,
you can also message me on Facebook. You can reach out anytime.
You got to reach out, guys. This is what you get when you get Kendra Davies from Stellar Life Coaching. I love you to pieces. Thank you so much for coming on the show and talking about this. We will see you guys. Can I do that?
Yeah.
Next, it's terrible. Next week, I'm going to visualize myself
Mm.
something. I don't know what. Maybe another cocktail at this point in the day. But I want you guys
Enjoy.
to take it seriously because it can be life-changing. It is life-changing. So please think about it. Reach out to Kendra. If you can't reach her, reach out to me and I'll put you in touch with her. And we will see you guys next. We're shifting. We're not Wednesdays at 4 anymore because of my crazy schedule. We're shifting to Tuesdays at 4 or 3.
4.
Oh, good.
4.
Whatever you said, yes. And I'm visualizing not having to move that. Thank you so much for all you do. We appreciate you.
Of course. Thanks,
All right,
guys.
guys.
Have a great
good
day.
You guys have a good
Bye.
one. We love you guys.